Hello, friends. Today I want to talk about loneliness. And I know this feeling too well. It was a time where I was constantly interested in what other people were doing, how they were living their lives, how they became so successful, how they went to parties or certain events, and a lot of the times I wasn't invited. When I was in high school, and I still am in high school, but I will soon graduate. Well, in early high school, I was surrounded by people. I had friends, I had people to talk to and hang out with, but I felt lonely. I felt painfully lonely. I felt like I cared too much about people, but they don't care about me. For most of my life, I literally felt like the side character, not the main choice to other people. I saw close people hanging out with each other, but never really getting invited. People getting into relationships with no one ever asking me out. And people having genuine best friends who supported each other, but I didn't have that. I guess a lot of the times I felt like people liked me, but I still felt extremely lonely. So if you also feel like that, if you feel lonely, disconnected from others, not being invited, wondering why no one seems to notice you, I might have the answer. And hopefully to you, it's not some generic self improvement advice that doesn't work, because I feel like what I will mention in this video can genuinely help you, because I struggled with loneliness for most of my life. Even though most of you probably know it, I just want to mention real quick, what is loneliness? Well, in my words, it is feeling disconnected from the relationships we want and the relationships we have. I don't know how else to explain it. Like, even if we have friends, we might still feel lonely because we might lack meaningful relationships. I don't know the exact statistics, but my country definitely suffers heavily with loneliness. And it is probably the top country in Europe that has the most people suffering with loneliness. And there could be a lot of reasons for that. I feel like a big part of us feeling lonely and unsocial is because of social media. Like, it was made for us to be more social, but it feels like it did the opposite. We have a ton of connections online, but we lack meaningful relationships in real life. I did have a lot of friends in high school. I wanted to fit in, be a part of a friend group, but I never felt like I belonged. But now, even around the same people, because I'm still in high school, I don't feel lonely anymore. And it's all because of the mindset shifts that I had and the actions I took, and more stuff that I will mention right now, and I hope you will find it helpful. The biggest problem I had when I felt extremely lonely all happened in my mind. I felt like other people are just more outgoing than me, more confident, more talented, friendlier, more likable. And the truth is, you, you are just as friendly. You are likable. You're just as outgoing. You're just as important as other people, if not more. And if you don't feel outgoing or confident, you can definitely feel more outgoing and more confident, maybe more than other people. And in order to do that, you have to build a meaningful relationship with yourself. You can't devalue yourself and expect other people to like you. I realized that the reason I'm lonely is because I didn't even like myself. Like, how can I expect others to like me when I don't like myself? I always wanted to fit in. I cared too much about what other people thought. I wanted to do the things that other people did that I just forgot myself. I forgot what I liked. Like, I forgot to spend time alone, or that, like, I avoided spending time alone because I didn't find my own presence fun. I found it awkward. These past few years, I realized that. I realized that I didn't like being alone, and I made an effort to fix that. I asked myself questions like, what am I? Well, like, what kind of person am I? Like, what kind of person do I want to be? What do I like? And a lot of times, like, I couldn't answer that. I couldn't answer that because I didn't know myself. So I made an effort to get to know myself, try out a lot of things, improve myself in a lot of ways, journal, and that has helped me a ton in feeling less lonely. I would say that it is one of the most important things that made me feel less lonely, to think more clearly, to understand what I actually enjoy and what kind of person I am. And I felt less dependent on other people. Wait, I've been sitting quiet for like a few minutes now and I don't know what to yap about because I've been going off script. I didn't really script. Like, I had a part that I scripted and I just went completely off script. I don't know what I was yapping about, but think like to conclude this advice: spend more time with yourself. You know, experiment with what you like, the hobbies you like. Like, I recently got into cubing. I found that this hobby really fits me, and it has been one of the most addicting things to do in my free time, and also like working out and instruments. Like, try out a lot of stuff if you have an opportunity to do that. uh you know, try out a lot of different things. um Spend more time alone in nature to get to know yourself more, and that way you will feel less lonely. By the way, this part of the video was completely unscripted. I'm just yapping, and I will continue yapping. This rest of the video will be unscripted as well. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about is to stop waiting for someone to initiate something or to text you or to ask you out, and instead be the one that initiates. I know that it might seem scary, and to me it was extremely scary. Like, the idea of asking someone out was just unimaginable. And, you know, a lot of the times I didn't want to reach out to others. I didn't want to text them because I didn't feel like I was important to them. I felt like they didn't want to reach out to me, and that's why I didn't reach out to them. But in reality, a lot of people are happy to receive a text. They're happy that someone initiates something, and, you know, you can create a meaningful relationship that way. And as well, like, other people might feel the same as I just mentioned. Like, they don't feel like you initiate, so they don't initiate as well. So be the one to initiate. You know, a lot of people are happy to receive a text. A lot of people want others to initiate, to invite them to places. You can't expect to build a meaningful relationship with someone, to not be lonely, if you're not doing anything. Like, if you're not initiating anything. Like, if you want to have friends, you have to be the one to reach out. There's a really low chance that someone actually reaches out to you. So be the one to initiate. You know, if I want to um have someone that is interested in the same hobby, I can't just wait and expect someone to, you know, come into my life and be interested in that thing. Like, I have to take initiative and like text people, or join specific groups, you know? Basically, in conclusion, be the one to reach out. You know, the worst they can say is no. Be the one, be the one to ask someone out, be the one to initiate hangouts and stuff. And that way you will create meaningful relationships with other people. All right, and the last thing, probably the most important thing that helped me feel less lonely, or no, scratch that. Something that helped me eliminate my loneliness was finding a purpose that wasn't related to other people. In the past, I felt like my main goal was fitting in. You know, it was to be liked by as many people as possible. And I just cared about other people's opinions, and that was just the only way that I could love myself. But the moment I found my purpose, which is YouTube, I didn't have time to think about what other people thought of me. My focus was growing my channel, improving myself, and helping others improve themselves as well. Even though this channel is small, well, we have 1,000 subscribers, but so so that is awesome. But yeah, even when my channel was way smaller, like 11 subscribers, it was something that saved me, something that pulled me out of my loneliness. Just the idea of helping just one person eliminated my loneliness entirely. You guys are amazing, and I'm happy that I've built up such a big community so far. Your guys' purpose could be entirely different. It doesn't need to be YouTube. You just have to get to know yourself, find that purpose that isn't related to someone else. That is just the most important thing to you, and you wouldn't care what other people think. Find that purpose, and yeah, hopefully my advice has helped you out. If you feel lonely right now, let me know in the comments actually. Let me know in the comments with whatever you're struggling with, and hopefully we can help each other out. Because as some of you might already know, I'm trying to build a community that just helps each other, and is strong together, you know. So yeah, I hope this video has helped you out. I hope you overcome loneliness or whatever else you might be struggling with. And good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night. I love you guys, and never stop learning.